I was to tell you it will cost you much more to get a Birkin bag than it is already costly to get a Birkin bag at the moment, due to something the motion of today wants to introduce. And the motion of today reads, Kenya should introduce higher taxes on luxury goods to fund social programs for the poor. I repeat the motion again. Kenya should introduce higher taxes on luxury goods to fund social programs for the poor. And joining us for this debate today is Mount Laverna and Light Academy as both Team Proposition and Team Opposition, and all the best to both teams. Team Proposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
My money, my wealth, my taxes, my luxury, my life, my goals. These words that roam in the heads of all the social classes in the society. Should it be raised or should it be left the way it is? Should we stand firm or should we divide? Let Gadhuku Ivy Wangeshi give you a stretched perspective by proposing the motion at hand, shall we? We start off with the definition of terms. The main terms in this motion is tax, luxury goods, and social programs. We start off with tax. Tax is a mandatory payment of charge collected by the national government from the individuals or business to cover the cost of general government services, goods, and activities. We continue with the social programs. These are plans of things that can help people who have financial, family, or other related problems. We continue with luxury goods, which are things that are expensive and enjoyable, but not, underline, not essential. Continuing with luxury goods, recently, apparently, the National Assembly published a Financial Bill 2023 on 20th April 2023. The bill seeks to amend the laws on various taxes and duties. It intends to finance 6 trillion, yes, 6 trillion shillings on the 2023-2024 budget. The proposal is 5% tax on wigs, false beards, and eyebrows, artificial nails, and eyelashes. Yes, all these are luxury goods. To serve my argument on a silver platter, one of the pillars of national unity this country needs and is enhanced by the addition of tax is equality. Citizens from all parts of Kenya will experience equality, considering each other as equals. How, you may ask? Simple. Taxes raised on luxury goods can actually be divided into different sectors. Yes, the government can actually divide it into different sectors in helping the poor by establishing settlement schemes. It can feed the poor. It can establish scholarships for the less fortunate. For my second argument, according to Citizen News, 30th June 2019, the country borrowed 7 billion, yes, 7 billion shillings from China, and the enhancement of tax could drastically reduce the borrowing and even enhance social programs, yes, by encouraging the rich. Yes, the rich could be encouraged to give the social tax, to give back to the society, which they less do. To wind up my argument, the government tax raising idea is genuinely genius because the young and the old benefit from it. How, you may ask? 65% of the young ones could be funded school fees via scholarships in all levels of levels of education. 75% of the old and the aged could have better settlement and quality healthcare. To end this undeniable business rivalry, the government should accept and take taxes up a notch than it already is. Mount Laverna Girls School has officially signed off this product. Have a good business.
Team Opposition, first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
At a point of recharacterization, luxury goods are products or services that are considered high-end, exclusive, and associated with high-quality prestige and a sense of luxury. That is to say, given the particular demographic we'd see in developed and developing nations, the idea of what a luxury good is very, very different. A side proposition is trying to propagate and saying that it's expensive and something to enjoy. In developing countries, what a luxury good would particularly look like is things like cars, houses, and jewelry. That I think we all know. But in a developed world, it would be anything from gambling to alcohol, to soda. So I think we should be more broad and diverse about what exactly constitutes a luxury good and be a bit more diverse in approaching this motion. Yeah? They talk about how they borrowed 7 billion to, we should enhance the tax, and apparently this tax will affect the rich. To that, I'll tell you two things. For some reason, in the 2015-2016 fiscal year, 381.7 billion Kenyan shillings went missing. 2017 to 2018 was an increment to 514.6 billion. Now, 2022-2023, if it keeps increasing, I think you can take a guess. Your guess is as good as mine. How much money do you think has been lost? Yet they want to tell us that you want to borrow money to enhance the tax and talk about the rich. Yeah? I want to give you three key arguments. One, the concept of introducing increasing the luxury tax would lead to tax evasion and black market activities. Now, in the words of Beatrice Baba, a Nigerian economist, he says, and I quote, "Introducing luxury tax on certain items would make people opt to purchase these products at cheaper prices from black markets, which are not subjected to taxation, which erodes the tax base." And he also goes and talks about how in Nigeria, 10% tax is offered on jets, 39% on cars, 5% on things like alcohol and champagne, and 1% on mansion tax. That, if I do my math correctly, should come to 55% on assets only. We have not even looked at all the other basic common taxes that the government of any particular country would take. That is to say, in terms of value-added tax, in terms of food, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of petrol, and somehow they want to increase the tax. They continue to tax us through and through on every single thing that the average person makes in this country, and somehow you want to increase the tax by adding a tax on luxury goods or the very few things that we are able to afford, the very few luxuries that we'd want to afford. Secondly, discourages economic growth and job creation on luxury goods. Why? By virtue of reducing demand, what this looks like is reducing demand would mean reducing supply. Reducing supply would mean reducing jobs, that is to say, in terms of creativity, of those who are perpetuating the existence of luxury goods. And even that, let's look at Qatar. Qatar has 100% excise tax, that is a sin tax on things like alcohol. And what this looks like, especially for non-Muslim Qataris who may come, for example, the World Cup in 2022, whereby people were complaining about the absence of things like alcohol, cutting jobs to deal with the reduced generation. Because in the United States Economics Bureau of Statistics, in relation to the National Liberation of Medicine, says, and I quote, "A 10% tax on cigarette would lead to a 4% decrease in demand." With all this tax and with all these disadvantages, would you want a tax on the little luxuries that you'd want to afford as the average citizen? Well, I think not. And in the words of my future profession, case closed.
Team Proposition Second Speaker, you have 3 minutes.
You said from 2022-2023 that our tax is increasing and our income as a country is increasing. Now, that is why we are here, and I surely think you should pay attention that we can avoid these taxes. I am not from a missionary school, but my mission is to convince you that the government should introduce higher taxes on luxury goods to fund social programs for the poor. Coming off to my first point, drugs, drugs, drugs. What is the essence of using these drugs, if I may say so? If the government imposes a levy on drugs such as cigars, which are used by most of our population, well, the government may earn revenue. According to my research from Cigar Connection, 55% of our population use drugs for enjoyment. One roll of cigar costs 5,000 Kenyan shillings over a normal tobacco cigarette, which costs from 10 to 15 Kenyan shillings. If the government introduces high taxes, this will lead to an increase of prices of such commodities, making the government to earn revenue. We all know that the main source of our government's revenue is through taxation. If the government imposes high taxes, they will help in funding social programs for the poor, like imposing free primary education and offering free lunch programs. Going to my second point, the government should introduce stamp duty. All my business students understand what I truly mean by this. Stamp duty is transporting of private land or securities from individual to individual. When the government imposes high taxes on such properties, the government will earn money and create revenue to fund social programs for the poor. According to my research on World Urban Forum, If the government uses public land to build schools, illiteracy level will decrease from 73% to 63%. To my last point, technology. I am sure that technology has done more harm than good. Machineries are secondary ones and fixed assets in most of our companies. If a machine is sold at 200,000, at 200,000 other than the book value, if a machine is sold at 200,000, the government will levy a tax 10%, meaning that 10% of 200,000, that is 20,000 if you do your maths well. And if the government sell 10 machines like that, that is 200,000. If the government sells 10 machines, they'll earn 200,000, meaning that the price may be good in constructing boreholes in our society. Other than that, I have nothing to say. I rest my case.
Team opposition, second speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Imagine it's 9 p.m. Yes, imagine it's 9 p.m. What time is it? No, it's time for news. Your dad appears out of nowhere and you are watching your favorite TV series. Your dad tells you, switch on the channel to Citizen TV. Now, you have to obey since it's your dad, since that's your dad. You put on Citizen TV. Tin, 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 tin. It's Jeff Konanga live, and the top stories this hour. Taxes have increased. What? Taxes have increased. Kenyans, we are all Kenyans. Taxes have increased. This is the top story on news this hour. We are very tired of this narrative. We are sick and tired of listening to the same thing over and over again, that taxes have increased. Our lives are becoming more miserable due to increased taxes. Now, the second proposition speaker said, high taxes will fund social programs. Did I hear the word high? High. You mean imposing high taxes? Even the word itself sounds wrong. The word should be manageable taxes, not high taxes. You see, Kenya already has a 20% excise tax on luxury goods, including high-end vehicles, jewelry, and luxury housing. This revenue was supposed to help in funding these so-called social programs. But I'm sure we are all familiar with this issue, with this problem, with this chronic illness called corruption. You know, as per the statistics our first speakers gave us from the Nation Media paper of 7th February 2021, the national government could not account for 514.6 billion in the fiscal year of 2017 to 2018. That's an average of 1.4 billion shillings daily. Imagine all that money has been lost. And this was an increment from the previous year, which was 381 billion. That means the trend in this is that more and more money is embezzled each year. And your guess is as good as mine, as he cited, of how much money will be lost this year. So, knowing that more money, this money collected from taxes is being embezzled, should we continue imposing higher taxes? The solution is not more taxes. The solution is quality over quantity, because more taxes is equals to more embezzlement of funds, as you have seen. And as I conclude, the solution is not more tax, is not to impose more taxes. The solution is to seal these loopholes, which consist of corruption, and this shall be dwelt upon by our third speaker. Thank you.
Team Proposition have been asked the question of transparency. How can they guarantee transparency once these taxes have been collected? And how will we ensure that they will be used for actual social programs and not just one blanket social program? Team Opposition have been asked, given that they have burdened us with statistics of tax collection and the likes, can they validate the sources of their statistics? Team Proposition, third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Camera, live, action. Now, to answer your question, you said that you wanted to be explained to how transparency will be shown. Now, this is what is going to be used, the media. We have the media. This is going to the media. So if you involve the media in your issues of transparency, everything will be clear. Are we okay? Thank you. Now, this is Alexis Mutiso from Mount Laverna Girls. On to my first point. We all know that luxury goods are mostly purchased by rich people. Get my point, mostly. I did not say all, I said mostly. Now, do you think that this millionaire or this billionaire really cares if their tax has been increased? Do you? They don't. Why? Because they have a lot of money in their disposal. This money can actually be used in useful ways, like funding these social programs for the poor. Now, when I mean this I mean actually opening nutritional centers for them. We all know that malnutrition is actually a really situation in our country. And if this money that is collected by the government from these taxes is used, we're going to do a lot in our country. Statistics show from Relief Web that rich people's income is mostly unearned, derived from returns from their assets, yet it is tax average by 18%. So when we say increase in taxes, we mean 25%. This 7% will increase our country's revenue by 3.5 billion. This is by Relief Web. Now, if this 7% increases our currency by 3.5 million, this will actually help our people. Now, let's begin by saying this. Your father comes home and says, you know what? I work for the government, and they haven't paid us because taxes are not being paid, and that's the main revenue earner for the country, so we're not getting paid. And it is your birthday, you really wanted that Birkin purse. But because your father is not being paid, because taxes are not being paid, nothing is going to happen. These taxes should be increased to actually help these people out here. They are going through a lot. You don't know what this person is going through in family or financially. If these taxes are increased, we are going to have a very smooth country. Now, on to my second point. What is more that luxury goods are secondary needs? Basic business knowledge, right? Now, therefore, they are brought once in a blue moon. If the taxes are increased, they will not make any big difference. Don't tell me you'll buy a Prado every day for a whole week. If you can prove to me that you can buy a Prado every day for a whole week, then fine. Now, this happens like this. Compared to basic needs, according to NewNet, between 2021 and 2023, 25% of Kenyans purchased luxury goods per year. 25%, surely. 25% of 47 billion people. Million, sorry. That is a very minimal amount of Kenyans, and these are mostly the wealthy people now. If they are taxed, they don't really even have an issue of being taxed. And this money can be used by the government, can be used by these people out here who are actually volunteering to help the poor. I'm not Sanchez, but I think I just scored a goal.
Thank you very much, Team Opposition. Third speaker, you have 3 minutes.
To begin by answering the question, I know the figures seem unrealistic. From 2015 to 2016, 381.7 billion Kenya shillings, as said by my fellow opposer. From 2017 to 2018, 514.6 billion Kenya shillings lost. These figures seem unrealistic, but they are true. According to the Nation Media, a paper published on the 7th of February 2021, we cross-checked the figures with other media outlets such as the Citizen Digital. I hope that answers your concern. Now, at the risk of sounding repetitive, I must speak on the matter of this high taxation. We cannot tax ourselves into prosperity. On the misappropriation of tax, 16% value-added tax, 25% import duty, road maintenance fees, 3% tax for housing development, existing luxury tax. Sounds scary, right? The list goes on. This doesn't sound like tax. It sounds like a tax. A tax on the economy of our nation, the improvement of our economy. We have money in the bank, it's being taxed. Money transfer is being taxed. Electricity, you've seen the bills, we are being taxed. Water is being taxed. And at the end of your career, when you're done being taxed, guess what? Your pension will be taxed. And now, side proposition has the audacity to tell us that, wait, one more solution, a tax solution to solve the problem that is plaguing our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joseph Utochi, representing Light Academy, a son of Kenyan soil. Perhaps, in my opinion, a patriot, here to shoot down the motion that is not in the best interests of our nation. Now, this tax thing, it's getting out of hand. It's insanity. For over the last 60 years, we have survived not by heavy taxation. We cannot live at the mercy of charity and donors simply because we taxed ourselves out of the opportunity to have our economy grow and develop. Charity will never be enough for us. Now, I'd be a madman to come and point out problems without offering a solution. I offer you not one, not two, but 3 solutions. Instead of higher tax, I offer that the people be given a platform to report corruption. A telephone hotline. On a serious note, a telephone hotline free of charge for us to report the corruption in our nation. What is causing us to lose so much money that would cause us to raise taxes to compensate? Choosing integrity on my part, on your part, on all of our parts, holding our leaders accountable. No one is above the law. There are provisions in our constitution. It is enshrined in our constitution. No one is above the law. As long as we hold our leaders accountable to what they do by another solution, offering performance contracts to our leaders so that we may be able to let go of leaders who lose money or even punish them for their wrongdoings. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to fill these gaping holes. That is the recurring theme here. This gaping hole is what needs to be filled, not raising the taxes to fill these holes and have perpetual leaking. Ladies and gentlemen, if we fill these gaping holes, then social welfare projects will become a reality. These are the solutions, not a higher tax. Thank you.
Team proposition, you have 1 minute to give your closing remark.
Thank you very much. Now, you said that we should be having a platform to stop corruption, but surprise, surprise, this is Kenya. Now, we all know that people have been fighting corruption in Kenya for the longest time, and trust me, nothing has worked. I will not come here preach just news that I'm not sure of, but I will tell you for a fact that this increase in taxes will actually help a lot. Now, this corruption you're trying to stop is being brought because there are no funds around. And this money that is being this being taken away is because they're not finding enough money in the government to even, you're not even being paid now. We know very well that taxes, and I repeat, taxes are the main revenue arm of our country. And surprise, surprise, again, we are doing this because we have nothing in our government. Now, if you want to stop corruption, increase money. And if you want to increase money, increase revenue. And if you want to increase revenue, increase taxes. Thank you.
Team opposition, you have 1 minute.
Now, in the words of Kipawa Youth host, she says, and I quote, "The president of Kenya said he will increase tax to reduce the price of unga and help the poor. Did he mean he'll reduce the price of the paper or the actual unga contained in that packaging? I wonder." Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. We have a very big issue on taxation. The average salaryman earns roughly 50,000 Kenyan shillings as we speak today. And somehow, about 70% of his salary will go to tax alone. I have not fed my children, I have not paid school fees, I have not taken them out, I have not bought them anything on their birthday, and somehow side proposition will come and tell us, let's increase luxury tax, guys. Really? At a point where we're losing 16.2 thousand Kenyan shillings a second, it just goes missing. Kind of reminds me of the Nigerian snake that ate 50 billion naira. Very interesting. They talk about increasing a luxury tax, yet they cannot manage what we have. You want to increase tax, yet services keep decreasing. As I conclude, people want to work hard to buy luxury goods because they are trendy. You add the tax, you decrease my purchasing power. To reduce the gap between the haves and the have-nots, we should tax on capacity to pay. That is direct tax, capital gain, and profit, not on luxury and what I want to have. Case closed.
Much as both teams understood the motion, I think what was not coming out is, until the last speaker, until Joseph came up, the solutions. Yes, we are saying, let's not tax, this is not the solution, but now the solutions came with Joseph at the tail end, which you're still fine. I think for Mount Laverna, I felt that maybe, I don't know, research, there was a lot of, wastage of time beating about the bush, not just hitting straight to it, especially Alexis today. I felt that, yes, you're saying it's not enough. The tax is not enough. There's still a huge gap to fund, and you lost us somewhere there. And I felt that maybe you should have hammered the need to actually, were you opposing? Proposing. To actually tax the luxury goods. And Light Academy did well to enlarge that bracket for us, to tell us it's not just beyond the developing and the developed countries. What is luxury is different for all of us. But I think for your style and the mastery and the conviction, it was there. But today, I don't know whether you're too tired. There was no oomph, much passion coming out, but I think it's a fatigue and so on. But excellent debate.
The debate was intense. I felt the tension, all the facts, the figures that you were throwing at us. It was just wow. But yeah, I enjoyed the debate. Yeah.
The debate was quite successful. It was peaceful at the same time. No opponent demeaned each other. It was fair. It was interesting. They were challenging, and we wish them all the best.
I think there was something special about the debate between our schools, because most of the time these debates have been a speaker taking a jab at another speaker, but our debate was rather peaceful. We focused on our arguments, and I think we're all better debaters for it. So I feel like this was a really fun debate.
You guys were just like it reached a point after the closing statement. I was like, okay, so this happened. But you guys are really, really good, and I really admire the fight that you put up, regardless. But Aki, no, don't look tired. Imagine confidence in lazima. So, nani best yangu, so lazima, confidence iko lazima. Yeah, so it was really, really good.
And the judges have awarded Light Academy. It's 69%. A round of applause, please, for Light Academy. And the judges have awarded Mount Laverna with 67%. A round of applause, please, for Mount Laverna. And the winners of this debate is Light Academy with 69%. A round of applause, please, for Light Academy. And having come to the end of the semi-finals for the seniors, we're hoping to see them in the finals for Nairobi region. We have come to the end of this debate, and until next time, it is goodbye from us. Make sure to check our social media handles for more of this content on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter at The Debate Circle. Kwaheri.